So I just took off the heat shield off a 86 Suzuki Samurai. That's on my PV blaster. Exhaust leak right there. It's pretty bad. I got the exhaust manifold off. All the bolts came out relatively easy, surprisingly. You can see here's the gasket. I'm gonna need a new one. It's a good thing I took it off because I was just gonna try to weld it on there. There's that hole, and then there's that little crack right there. And if I just try to weld it on there, I wouldn't have seen this when I flip it over. Yeah, that's a pretty good crack right there. With that came 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts and 2 nuts. Those other bolts were for the heat shield. The kit only comes with 3 hex head bolts, 3 nuts, and 3 star lock washers for the bolt set. And then it comes with the 2 gaskets, I believe. We got that one, and then the new one for the flange in there. The difference is a lot, so I'm gonna have to cut the exhaust pipe and re-weld another flange on. To re-weld this flange on to make it fit. So what I started to do is you can see that exhaust pipe is on the ground right now. So what I did was just started unbolting all the exhaust pipe hangers, these guys, and there's just one bolt. There's 3 of them that I unbolted. One right there. Reuse the exhaust manifold bolts, the original ones, or buy new ones, which is recommended, I guess. So what I did, I just bolted it on with 1 bolt right now just to see where it sits. And where it sits is, it's obviously longer than the stock one. You can see it down there. I had to drop the exhaust pipe, which I'll show you, on the floor. Now I gotta find out where to cut it so that I can re-weld this new flange to it for it to fit. I'm gonna have to cut it probably down here somewhere and put the flange on it, and you can see it shoots out straight, so that's probably good because it's gonna have to connect straight to it, no bends. So that's the flange I have to weld to it. This flange requires 3 bolts. The exhaust manifold that came off was only 2, so it's gonna need a new flange. So what I'm gonna do to see if this fits is just raise it up and sort of determine where it's gonna need to be cut. I'm gonna cut it too long first time, just so I can even raise it up, because right now it won't raise up without hitting that oil pan or anything. The vehicle is a little hard to get all the way around with the cutoff wheel, and that's what it looks like, the ugly cut. Cut it with this guy, Kita cutoff wheel, and here's that new 3-bolt flange, and it's a little oversized, so I think it's just gonna slip right over. Touches right now, so we know I have enough, including the flange that I have to weld onto that. So now that I have that off, it'll be easier to get out of here, because this is all one solid piece. There's no way to Just bolt it off. So that's where the tailpipe should be. And I just slid the whole thing out the back. So the tailpipe came over this axle and right out here. So I just pushed it out this way, and I had to twist a little bit to get it to come out, but it wasn't too bad. Alright, so here it is out, about ready to cut it again. I'm going to cut to the left with the duct tape. Alright, here I am under the truck where the header meets the exhaust pipe. This is after I cut it off once. And it's sort of hard to see, but as you can see, it's not lining up no matter what I do. This gap here, even if I drop the tail section, it'll still have this gap. I've tried maneuvering it as much as I can, and I was thinking I could just bend the hangers to make it fit, but even as close as I can get, it's not gonna line up. So what I'm gonna end up having to do is cut it back further and then weld it on at an angle right there. So it's gonna... Alright, well hopefully this is the last cut. Here's for reference if you ever do it on the same exhaust pipe yourself. So I'm just gonna grind this now, make it all flat, and then brush this all off so I get a good weld. And hopefully this is the last cut. And the flange will just go on like this, sort of angled up, because it needs that for a good seal. So at last, I am ready to start welding. You can see there's a lot of angle between the pipe and the flange. Not only is there angle, but I'm gonna have to fill it a lot because there's quite a bit of gap. But what I did is I just bolted these on just so it's in position, and then I'm just gonna tack weld it in a couple places, and I'll probably just after that drop it so I can finish welding all the way around. There's my tack weld. I know it's shit, but that position is hard as long as it holds it. I know. I spray painted it to keep it from rusting, at least for a little bit, but it'll probably burn off. You can see the angle of it. It's just extreme. It's not easy to weld when you have to fill in a 1/4 inch gap. We'll see how long it holds. But I was determined to get it done without buying a new exhaust pipe.